Okay, hello. Welcome back for another Ruby Inspire. There was problems with the other one with the bugs I had to redo. Anyway, this is number 17. I'm having a baby girl! Lance shrieked, bursting into the bridge, a grin spreading across his face, with tears in his eyes. A girl? Alora gasped, then squeaked and dashed over to him. It's a girl. They embraced tightly, Alora bouncing and giggling. I'm so glad I picked out all those cute little dresses and tiny little shoes. She's going to be the cutest, I swear, sweetest little thing. I just know it. Alora pulled back. Then Lance was turned to his right to face Hunk. I'm so happy for you, man. He stepped back, then Lance looked over as Shiro patted his back. Another member of the team. I'm proud of you. Matthew and Karan jumped in and pulled Lance away. My young paladin is growing up so fast, Karan squeaked. Lance and Matthew laughed. I know how to take care of babies, so don't have to worry. So if you need my help, just let me know, my dude. Lance gave Matthew a thumbs up. I'm sure to do that. Slav? Slav proudly held up all his thumbs up. How's my little princess in this lovely day? Lance sang, crawling into bed, still in his armour. Keith groaned, snatching his arm at Lance. Go change, Lance pouted. I can't, we're about to land and hopefully inform an alliance. Still, no armour on the bed, Keith huffed. The blue pan whined and rolled off the bed. He crawled around and pulled himself up beside Keith. No armour on the bed, Lance muttered with a shriek, as he placed his hands on the flat over Keith's belly. Hey, baby girl, my little princess, he cooed, giggling as he felt a kick. Lance tilted his head to look at Keith. Keith kept his expression gaze on the Altean tablet. Lance gleamed, cursing his fingers on Keith's belly. Baby girl, I think your mummy is the prettiest person I have ever seen. Red crawled up Keith's cheeks. His brow flustered to keep concentration on the tablet. Mummy is so talented and smart. The red kept getting brighter as his face flattened and flustered. Daddy's absolutely the luckiest person in the universe, just because I have your mummy, princess. I love him so much. Keith dropped the tablet in favour to bury his face into his hands. Stop it! Stop what? Lance hummed, resting his head on the edge of the bed, his gaze soft and glued onto Keith. Whatever it is that you're doing, you jerk! Lance chuckled. I'm not doing anything. I'm just talking to our baby girl. Hey, what are we naming her? Keith glared at Lance, pushed his fingers through his hair, then sighed. He let his hands rest on his abdomen. We have 2 names, Rosalind and Olivia. Then we'll use them. Lance shifted and leaned up to kiss Keith's belly. How about that? Rosalind and Olivia? Does that sound half bad? I like it. Princess? He gleamed as he got a few soft kicks in response. Rosalind and Olivia it is. Only the best for my little girl. Rosalind and Olivia. I love it. Keith smiled through. He bit his lip. Lance stood and leaned over to press his lips gently to Keith's. Keith hummed, resting up to tangle his fingers in Lance's hair. I really love you. Lance whispered after they broke apart. The Red Paladin curled his fingers. I love you too. Lance smiled and placed a soft and repeated kisses to Keith's lips, holding himself up with one hand pressed into the mattress, his other hand pressed flat over Keith's belly, where the baby started to kick again. They both laughed softly. I need to go to the bathroom, Keith mumbled. Lance stuck his tongue out and sighed and sat up. Then go. I don't need to know that. You ruined the moment, Keith. Keith sat in the bridge, eyes on the screen. So why can't I go to this meeting again? Cran chuckled, fixing one of the panels on the control panel. Just in case, Keith. We never know what could happen. Yeah. Hey, what's that beeping thing? The old Tane hummed and looked up at the screen in front of him. Oh, that's a call. The call? Who in the name of Altea? Cran muttered, typing across on the panel to answer the call. Keith went wide-eyed, stood up at the screen, flickered. Then the landscape of the planet they were on switched and turned to replace by Lotor. Cran, cancel it! Keith shouted. Cran began to panic, fingers flicking over the panel. Is that you, Red Paladin? Lotor muttered, chills shooting down Keith's spine. I see, that's why the red line has been flown differently. Because you're expecting a child. You don't seem surprised, Keith sneered, facing Lotor with a glare. Lotor chuckled deeply, bowing his head. It's not uncommon for Garian males to be able to bear children. You just happen to be unlucky enough to be half Garian male that can produce a child. Whose child is it? The Black Paladin's? Wait, don't tell me. I know it's his. Lotor leaned back. Keith turned back to Cran. What's taking so long? I can't break the connection. Keith turned and looked at him again in shock. Talk to me more, Red Paladin, Lotor said, flowing around him, flicking his fingers together. Is the child male or female? Champion seems to like to produce strong male children. Cran, try harder. He's trying to track us. I'm trying, Keith. Keith? Lotor echoed, fingers on his chin. Is that your name, Paladin? Keith? Doesn't sound threatening. It sounds very submissive, very sub. Keith stared and started to shake in anger. Lotor leaned forward. I think, Keith, when I find you, I'll kill Champion's child, imprison you, and have you bear my children. See how you feel about the... The screen flickered, and he was gone, voice cutting out. Cran groaned and stumbled in relief as Keith trembled. Slowly, Keith lowered himself back into his seat, his eyes wide, stinging with tears. He placed his hand over his abdomen, the other over his mouth and nose. Cran looked over at him, then covered his hands over his face. Cran then looked over himself again, over his shoulder as the door opened. Cran? Alora muttered as she stepped in. What happened? Why do you look so pale? A sob broke through Keith's fingers, and rushing footsteps immediately broke out. Lance fell to his knees in front of Keith. gently taking his hands. Keith? Keith, baby, what's the matter? Cran leaned over his panel. Lotor. He called and kept the connection in order to track our location. I managed to break it, but not before he threatened to kill the child. The blue paladin gripped Keith's hands, then gathered him in his arms. Never, Keith. That will never happen. I will never let him. Before I have a chance to gut him. We get a chance to even look at you again. Keith nodded, clinging desperately to Lance and burying his face into Lance's shoulder. Promise, Lance? You promise? I swear it. Alright, that's the end of that. I hope that sounds good for you, and I hope you guys are good, and thank you.